Alright, what's up guys, it's Raider, and yeah, here I am. I'm actually playing on a brand new Destiny 2 account, and if you're coming to check out this stream, well, the title kind of says what I'm planning on doing for this stream, and that is that I'm making this new account, but I'm also planning to make a new, like, guide-esque type of series here on this channel in the form of videos and streams. I'm going to be showing, all these different ways that you can power up your characters. I'm going to be talking about what it means to play Destiny and all these different things. I'm going to be recording, turning them into videos, and of course I'm going to be doing a lot of it on these streams because that's where I'm a lot going to be playing on this new account. Anything that's off stream, mostly going to be on my actual main account that I play on. So yeah, here we are, we're getting into the game, and right now I would just like to start off by saying, for any new players who might be watching this, how's it going? Welcome. I'm a Destiny streamer. Welcome to the Destiny community. Yeah. You can see all these notices. I'm just gonna skip through them, and I'm just gonna talk about really what is Destiny. You might have friends that told you about it. You might have some other, you might have seen it, someone else playing it, might have, whatever your reason, you're here trying to get into Destiny. And Destiny 2 is a MMORPG first-person shooter. It's kind of like in its own kind of little hybrid class. There's not a lot in that area right now. And it's a really fun, expansive, excellent game. And as you can see right now on the screen, your character choices kind of boil down to 3 different main classes. Some MMOs have a lot more, but for Destiny, we have our good old 3 tried and true classes in the form of the Titan, the Hunter, and the Warlock. I'm going to be talking about each of the 3 classes, kind of what they are, what they do, what you're going to be expecting from these classes, and so you can hopefully make the best choice for yourself. And just so you know, this is not permanent. You can have 3 different characters in this game. If you end up really liking one, you can make 3 of the same character. But if you want, you can get 1 of each. But right now, I'm just going to be talking over the individuals. So let's start from the left going to the right in the form of the Titan. The Titan, as you'll probably hear a lot of people say later on, is the Ape class. You're the Punch class. A lot of Titan's kit revolve around their melee abilities, right? Now, you have 4 abilities inside of Destiny in the form of your grenade, you have your melee ability, and you have your class ability. Now, you might be wondering what your class ability is, and that actually varies for all 3 classes. For the Titan, it's a barricade, or a little shield that you prop up in front of you. It provides extra cover, or a multitude of stat buffs. Now, the Titan also has, in the form of their melee, usually some of the stronger options for their melee, right? Now, that's usually the centerpiece of the Titan's kit. Now, the Titan jump is going to be a jetpack. Now, what that essentially means is it's not that intuitive. You're going to have some delay between your jump. It's going to be a lot more vertical than it is horizontal, but you are going to slowly build up that speed. Now, the last ability that I did mention that's going to be the 4th ability is going to be your super ability. Your super ability is essentially an ultimate in most other games. The Titan supers, or their ultimate abilities, again revolve a lot around being up and in your face and using melee abilities. Now, the different Titan supers are usually going to be something along the lines of something like throwing a hammer, or punching something with a lot of arc energy, or you're gonna be throwing a shield, right? That's kind of it. Those are the three different things that Titans utilize. There are three different subclasses beyond these, so I'm gonna kind of get into right now, and those are gonna be Arc, Solar, and Void. There is a fourth one, but that's not free to play, so I'm not going to be covering it in this series. Right? Now, for the Arc, Titan is going to have a lot of melee with their super. It's all about hitting things, punching things, and that's ultimately what the subclass is about. Your Void Titan is all about suppressing enemies, getting overshields, which is essentially extra health, and it's going to be about throwing shields at enemies, or utilizing the Titan's shield, which is not their class ability, but their melee ability to hit things with. And the last class is the Solar class, which you're going to have a hammer. That's a lot of what it's about. You're throwing hammers, you're hitting people with hammers, you know, you're slamming your hammer into the ground, stuff like that. Now, the next class up is the Hunter. The Hunter is your agile class, you're kind of like the scout, but, that's not really a role in this game. Just kind of as like a way to give you an idea of what you're going to be like. Now, the Hunter is all about your mobility. You're usually going to be fastest, but with the lack of survivability as a downfall because of that. Now, the Hunter jump is the most intuitive in my opinion, being most like any other game. If you've played a platformer, it's very similar to that, where you press jump and you just kind of go up in a vertical direction plus your forward momentum, right? Now, the Hunter jump is going to have the option between like a double jump or a triple jump, just in case you want something like that. Now, the Hunter also is going to have their class ability as a dodging ability, in which you're going to activate this little dodge animation, and it's going to give you back your melee ability for free, skip the cooldown on it, or you're going to be able to get a full reload on your weaponry. Now, the Hunter's three different pseudo subclasses, as we like to call them, for the Arc, Solar, and Void. We're going to start with, again, the Arc. It's about going very fast. It's about punching things. You're also going to have, for your supers, a staff that you're either going to wield to attack and deflect from incoming attacks from enemies, or you're going to use it to throw like a javelin at enemies, and that's going to do a bunch of damage. Now, one note for Hunter supers is they are currently the highest damage supers in the game, kind of all around. That's just something to note if you do like being that high damage hitter. Now, for the Solar for the Hunter, you're gonna have knives. A lot of it is about knives. You're gonna be throwing knives at enemies. You're gonna have 4 different types of throwing knives. You pick your choice, right? Now, on top of that, you're gonna have for your super, you're gonna be able to throw like a ton of knives at people in a super called the Blade Barrage, or you're gonna get a golden gun, which in like most golden guns inside of a PvP game mode will one-shot PvP enemies, or in PvE will deal massive damage. Last up for Hunter is the Void. Void is in Hunters is all about sneaking around, right? Now, what that means is Hunters have invisibility. They're the class that is mainly focused around their ability to become invisible. Whilst invisible, PvE enemies won't really be able to detect you, and PvP, you'll kind of disappear from the radar on the enemy's screens, right? So you're all about sneaking around and debuffing and assassinating enemies. Now, when I say debuff, I'm kind of talking about the Hunter's super, known as the Tether. You're going to shoot your tether, it's going to chain to a bunch of enemies, and it's going to allow you to get a lot of debuff and room clearing capability. You're also going to have Spectral Blades, which is a similar super to the Arc Staff, where you're going to run around and you're just going to attack a bunch of enemies. Now, the last class is the Warlock, my personal favorite. The Warlock class is your Space Wizard class, as, kind of dictates by the name. You're magical, all your abilities feel very esoteric and paracausal, right? Now, the Warlock class ability is a healing or empowering rift. It's very, obvious by the name, but in case you don't get it, the healing rift is a rift that you put down. You can stand it, it's gonna last for like 15 seconds, and it's gonna give you free healing. So you have great survivability on the Warlock, or if you want to be more offensive, you can go with the empowering rift, which you can stand in, and it's going to allow you to do a ton of damage, as it gives you like a 15% damage bonus. Alright, now for the Arc Warlock, you're gonna be having a lot of range with your Arc Warlock. It's gonna be all about casting abilities that are gonna deal chain damage and do a lot of room clearing capability to clear out lots of ads. If you don't know what ads are, they're what a lot of people in the Destiny community call the little trash mobs that spawn around that are mostly there to just be extra targets in fights. Right, now your supers are going to be this form of storm trance, right? That's what it's called, where your Warlock is basically going to turn into Emperor Palpatine. You're going to run around and you're just going to zap enemies with lightning. Your other super is going to be the Chaos Reach, where you essentially unleash a Kamehameha blast, if you've ever seen Dragon Ball, into an enemy. Or, for anyone who hasn't, you're going to be shooting a big beam of energy at enemies. It can do a lot of ad clear, or you can do a lot of boss damage. Now, next up for Warlocks is going to be their Solar. Solar for Warlocks is really all about their healing capability paired with their ability to burn targets. Now, for the Warlock, your supers are going to be the Dawn Blade, in which the Warlock gains the ability to just soar through the air at really fast speeds while chucking blades of fire at enemies. Those blades are going to be able to do a lot of room clearing and ad clearing and are really strong in PvP, right? But they're not that good at damaging a single target, such as a boss. Next up is something that most Warlocks will use inside of PvE, known as the Well of Radiance. I want you to imagine your rifts, both the Empowering Rift and the Healing Rift, combined and put on steroids. It's going to last for around 30 seconds, you're going to get a huge 25% damage buff, and you're going to get ridiculous amounts of healing. Super strong in PvE. If you want to be the support S class that a lot of people are going to rely on to be able to do their boss damage effectively, Warlock's the way to go. Now lastly for Warlock, I'm going to talk about the Void for Warlock. Void Warlock is really all about your own survivability. You're going to be able to kill targets to heal and all around do a lot of damage with Void. Now, the Void supers boil down to 3 different things, 2 of which are 2 strands of the same thing. Now, that is going to be Nova Bomb. This is the one that has 2 strands of essentially the same thing. One is going to be a big bomb that you're going to chuck at something. It's going to chase them down. It's going to explode, do a huge amount of damage. It's going to break into smaller bombs that are going to chase down more enemies or target the same big enemy and do even more damage. The other one is going to be another version of Nova Bomb, in which you throw it, it doesn't chase down enemies, it moves much faster, and it's going to land wherever it impacts, and it's going to do a ton of damage, and then it's going to leave a damage field in the area similar to a grenade that will do AoE ad clear, or have sustained boss DPS for a short amount of time. Then lastly is the Nova Warp, where you hold onto a ball of energy and you chase down and quickly evaporate and eradicate a ton of ads. Now for this free to play New Light God account, I am personally going to be playing the Titan. The Titan is my personal worst class, and I would like to improve at it. I will be trying to make all 3 classes to showcase what they're like and what they can do, but I'll be starting off and probably maining the Titan for this account. Now, I am in customization, I'm just gonna take whatever they gave me off the bat. I don't really care about that. But now we're gonna get into the opening mission of Destiny. Now I'm gonna give you a little bit of exposition because you're not really gonna understand a lot, as half the story of the game is not even in this game. In fact, most of it's not in the game, and I know it's frustrating, but if you want to go find out what the heck is even happening in Destiny, there's some great lore YouTubers like My Name is Bife or Mylan Games that really make excellent lore videos. Now I'm gonna shut up so the cutscene can play.
We called it the Traveler, and its arrival changed us forever. Great cities were built on Mars and Venus. Mercury became a garden world. Human lifespan tripled. It was a time of miracles. We stared out at the galaxy and knew that it was our destiny to walk in the light of other stars. But the Traveler had an enemy, a darkness which had hunted it for eons across the black gulfs of space. Centuries after our golden age began, this darkness found us. And that was the end of everything. But it was also a beginning.
Alright, I know there's dialogue happening. I don't want to cut it off too much.
It worked. You're alive. You don't know how long I've been looking for you. I'm a ghost. Actually, now I'm
But essentially what happened is after the darkness found the Traveler kind of died. Or it went to a dormant state. And when that happened, we got these things called the ghosts. Now, these ghosts can bring people back from the dead, but it's not really everything it's cracked up to be, because they can't bring back everyone. They can only bring back certain people, and those certain people turn into Guardians. The Guardians are defenders of the light and the last city, known as the Tower, in which people reside.
This place is an old cosmodrome, a Russian spaceport.
Now, off the bat, if you press the escape button, which is kind of obvious, you can go open your settings, and you can look at all your keybinds. These are important to find out, so make sure that you remember them. Right, I am gonna change some of them just to what I personally prefer them to be. Alright, now let's get started. Oh yeah, gonna make sure I turn off the game chat. Alright, so here we are. Now you'll notice that the ghost you'll probably notice, you might have heard me talking over it, but he said something about how the Fallen are coming. The Fallen are one of the many factions of enemies inside of Destiny 2, and there are several. Those being the Fallen, Cabal, Taken, Scorn, Hive, and the Vex.
It's a risk, but I'll get us more light.
Each different type of enemy has their, or each faction has their own different types of enemies that all have their own different abilities and hallmarks that make them unique. Though you'll notice quickly that they typically follow a pattern.
There's a rifle. Grab it.
By that pattern, I mean that they all usually fall into a mold of more tanky enemies, explosive enemies, two forms of trash enemies, sniper enemies, and the such. You also have the melee enemies, and those are typically your archetypal enemies for each faction. Now you'll notice I picked up a weapon. This is called the Kvastov 7G02, and you'll notice that the rarity is white. Put this out there really quick. White weapons, not that good. You'll quickly replace them, and I'll show you how as quickly as possible to get better stuff. But you notice how there's 3 different slots. This top slot that the Kvastov falls into is called the kinetic slot. The kinetic slot houses weapons that are either primary ammo, that you can see is indicated by this white little box at the top, at the bottom right of the area, or special weapons that you'll see in the same thing, but it'll be green. Now, unlike special and heavy ammo weapons, the power weapons is the Kvastov and all primary ammo weapons have infinite amounts of ammo. One important thing to note is that kinetic weapon slots cannot house power ammo weapons. That can only go into this 3rd slot. The same thing with what I just said about having the either special or green or primary ammo weapons only falls into the energy and kinetic slot. The power slot cannot hold special or primary weapons. Now, kinetic weapons do not have an element. That's for the energy weapons. Elements are important as in Destiny, as they fall into your overall build, or they will break shields on enemies, which will come in later on in the game. You can see the ability that I just threw. That is my Titan grenade. Now, what that grenade does is it leaves this little pulse of energy on the ground that's going to continue to pulse out and deal damage over time, and it's going to continuously do that for a certain amount of time. Now, one thing I feel like I need to show you is that there are a ton of different grenades available. There's not only this one, and these grenades are available in every single class. Only your melee abilities and your class ability and supers are class specific. Grenade abilities are open to every single class. Now, you'll see I got my first energy weapon in the form of this special shotgun. You can see this is what it's called. It's a Stubborn Oak. It's an aggressive frame shotgun. It takes the special ammo. Now, one thing you notice is that there's 2 different statistics here. The power of the weapon, which ultimately results to your total power, which is your level inside of Destiny. And then this archetype. There are several different archetypes for every type of weapon, and you'll find that they're very important as they dictate usually the stats. They will dictate the fire rate, of the weapon, and ultimately how much damage they will deal and their time to kill. Just because I showed it off poorly last time, here's my Titan grenade. You can kind of see what it does. It's a lot of damage. Now, this is the melee ability. There are several melee abilities for Titans, but that is one of them. By holding down melee, you're going to charge up an attack, and it's going to release a burst of damage. And just to show you, this is the Titan shield. It will disappear after a certain amount of time, or it can be broken by it taking too much damage. You can hide behind that shield and you won't take damage.
Heads up. A fallen raiding party. They're more trouble than I thought.
Now this area that I'm currently in is called the Cosmodrome. Now, there are several different destinations inside of Destiny, and they're all worth checking out as they're all very beautiful and have several things to do there. Now, you'll notice that there's this big tank in front of me. We gotta kill this tank. Now, in case you can't figure out how, this is an enemy that will recur a lot, but you gotta break their legs, and after breaking their legs, the crit spot will be revealed. Make sure that you shoot this crit spot. That's gonna make it so you can do the maximum damage to the tank. Now, you'll be tempted to just leave automatically here, now that, you know, the ghost is telling you that you can leave, and that Shahan is telling you that he needs help. But you see this chest? You can farm this chest. So I'm gonna wait for the tank to respawn. It should happen soon. Unless it's already been patched, which would be unfortunate. And there we go. The tank has respawned. So what we can do now is we can go and we can kill this tank again. If you have the patience to, and you aren't in a super big rush to get into playing the game right away, this is going to be super effective at making sure that you can power up your character much faster in the early game. You can see this chest spawns again, and I'm able to open it for more resources. You can get weapons and gear from this chest, which is why it's super important to make sure that if, again, you actually have the patience and that you're not going to be opposed to doing so, that you farm this chest as much as you can. Now you might notice that there's this white dot appearing above enemies' heads. That means that they are finisherable. That's what a finisher looks like. As it says in the name, when you activate a finisher, you're finishing off an enemy. Finishers can happen to most any enemy in the game except for boss type enemies. When you activate a finisher, it is a guaranteed kill. So when you use it on an enemy, especially the tankier kind, it can be super effective at saving your ammo. Now, you might die here. That's gonna happen. You're super underpowered right now, and you're really weak. You're not meant to truly sit here and farm this chest, in all honesty. The actual goal here is for you to leave this zone as soon as you kill the tank for the first time. Once again, since I would like to get this account up as fast as possible so I can make the most informative content as possible as soon as possible without really having to have to do any of the busy work of the game, I'm going to abuse this to kind of get my Guardian up to speed faster. Usually you do get a lot more weapons and gear from this, but since it's not happening right now, they might have changed it when they revamped this, since the last time I actually went through this was a little while ago. So I'm actually going to start progressing, but you can come back to this area. Don't worry, this isn't a mission exclusive area. Now, you'll notice I'm picking up these things called spin metal leaves. They're all around the Cosmodrome. If you see them, you can go grab them. They're going to give you some glimmer, which is the universal currency in the game, which is, basically just your money for transactions. And then it's going to give you some spin metal, which is used to purchase things relating to the Cosmodrome. There are some additional uses that I will get into later on in the game.
Oh, thank the light. I didn't think we had other Guardians on patrol here. Listen, my fire team's missing. I need backup. And... oh, you're fresh out of the grave, aren't you?
We heard your distress call. We're here to help.
Brave. I like it. Tall order for your first day, though. Doesn't help that I rushed the perimeter scans, and now... I need to locate my team before there's nothing left to find. Sit tight. I'll get you to the city soon enough.
I've made it this far. Let me help.
I get it. Nobody likes to be sidelined.
Guardians are stronger together. Isn't that right?
You sound like Commander Zavala. All right then. Load up. This is gonna get dicey. But do what I say, and we'll get through it.
We won't let you down.
Follow my signal.
Alright, so now we're just gonna go help out Shahan in his first mission, and in doing so, we're going to unlock a few more mechanics.
There's a weapon in that locker. Probably an upgrade for you. Grab it and head to my location.
So now you can see we have unlocked these slots in the inventory. It's a total of 10 for each type of weapon, meaning you can hold a total of around 30 different weapons. So we're going to put this on, and now our power level is going to go up. Your power level is not determined by one item, but a combination of all of your items, your armor and your weapons. Armor has a larger effect on your power than your weapons do. So if you do want to increase your power, make sure that you target the armor part first.
Something's causing interference. My scanner's shot. Might be doing this the old-fashioned way.
Analyze it. I've got a source for the interference. Let's check it out.
Get the fallen off that thing.
spliced in here. That's scrambling your scans.
Fallen can't resist tinkering with old scrap.
They're certainly skilled at it. This will take a minute to fix.
Now, if you look inside the top left of my screen, you'll probably notice that there is a form of minimap. This is known as the radar in Destiny. Now, the radar is going to show you where enemies are in the area, even if you can't see them. So even if they're below you, behind walls, above you, behind you, or hell, right in front of you, they will be on display for you. Super useful, especially in PvP. So if you do want to get into Destiny PvP, make sure that you watch your radar. Now that we're done protecting our boy, the Ghost, I want to talk about something really quick, known as weapon perks. You'll notice that on this hand cannon, unlike the Kvastov and the Stubborn Oak, there are weapon perks on them. There are 4 different columns for your weapon perks. The first column is either going to be a sight or a barrel perk. These are going to give stat increases. Next up is going to be the rounds column. These are going to give stat increases as well. The last 2 columns, or what people call the 3rd and 4th column, are going to be the most important, as they're going to give traits that are going to be the ones that really determine whether or not a weapon is strong. Now, this weapon has the trait or perk Hipfire Grip, which increases hipfire accuracy, stability, and precision hit targeting when firing from the hip. Essentially what that means is your hipfire is better. Now, there's going to be on your standard legendary weapon or what you're going to be using mostly later on in the game. There's going to be 2 different sets of those perks, like I mentioned earlier on. Now, one thing to note is not all weapons are the same. Once you get past the blue rarity of weapons, honestly, you're gonna get a lot of random rolls on weapons. Meaning that you're not gonna get the same weapon every single time. So, don't just delete everything that you can think you can get just another one with the exact same perks on it, as the perks are randomized. Make sure you keep an eye out for perks that you find interesting and try them out. That's really the important part. Make sure you try out the perks that you want to try. Always read your perks combos. You'll find that asking people what perks they like isn't always the best option, as, you know, perk choices are subjective. It's really dependent on what your build is and what your playstyle is. I'm gonna get more in-depth with what different perks do and, you know, all around this kind of stuff in a different video. But yeah, so I'm not gonna go too much talking about what all the different perks do, but I do plan on making one like that in the future, where I talk about what every single perk in Destiny does.
We'll need access keys to bypass it. The fallen salvager might have some. That's 1 key. We need 2 more.
Arc charge. And then download.
That's all the
Alright.
keys we need. I should be able to break the encryption now.
Oh yeah, just something to note. You see the thing in the top right over there, that's not actually part of the game. That's because I have an extension that I use through Overwolf called Destiny Tracker. It's not necessary by any means to play Destiny at all, so don't feel the need or don't feel pressed to download it. Now, you'll notice how there is a little white marker on top of this barrier, and this is something that you might have seen me following to get towards what I needed to do to unlock those key codes. That is the objective marker, and it's going to lead you to where you have to go to complete your current objective. You can find out what your current objective is by looking at the right. You can see how it says Schism, find Maeve, which means my current objective is to find Maeve. The thing on top is the mission or quest you're trying to complete. Sometimes it won't show up because it will disappear, and you can just press tab to pull it up or to see more information about it to figure out exactly what needs to be done, if it's a little bit vague. Now, see that these enemies look way different than the Fallen do, and that's because this is a different faction of enemy known as the Hive. The Hive are again one of the different factions that I listed off. They're just your standard enemies, just with again their own different unique versions of enemies. You can see that Knight is similar to a captain. Now you might see in this area, and it also kind of said something about being in a darkness zone. At the top, that's your health bar there that shows how much health you have. I think that's very self-explanatory. But beneath it, there's a little thing that says no ghost, with the ghost crossed out. What that means is that this is the darkness zone or a restricted zone, which means you can't respawn necessarily. You're either going to not be able to respawn, or you're gonna have to respawn very slowly. There is a shortcut to that, and that if you're playing with other players, they can revive you. Now, something you'll find later on in the game is that inside of darkness zones, there's this thing called wiping, where if you die, or if every member of your team dies, in a darkness zone, you will be wiped and you'll have to restart the encounter all over again. I really recommend, and believe it or not wiping. Yes, I know I can fast travel game. You don't need to keep telling me. Oh god, did they lock all the doors? That's annoying. Alright. We're gonna fast travel over to the steps to go meet Shahan. Alright. Tried and true guy, you know, first person we ever met on the job. So, yeah. Now, one thing that I'm gonna want to clarify right here and right now is that you might think that, you know, these destination vendors are like the most important thing in the game. They really aren't. Over time, you'll find that there are more important vendors and more important things in the game. Now, one thing is you might notice every time I open my menu, you see these numbers on the right. What do they even mean? Well, I'll kind of show you what they mean. Mobility is going to be your mobility. It's going to increase the amount that your character can move, your movement rate, and your jump height. And it's going to give a percentage of it that is dependent upon the tier. There are a total of 10 tiers, and the tier goes up every time you have 10 of it. So I have 41, meaning I have tier 4. Now, next up is your resilience. For Titans, resilience is going to make it so that your barricade recharges faster. Mobility is going to do that for the hunters, and recovery will do that for warlocks. Now, resilience is, you're going to find, probably the most important stat for PvE. Now, I'd say it's either between recovery or resilience, but I'll get to recovery later. Now, it's going to give you damage reduction, and it might not look like a knot right now. You see, I'm at tier 3, and I have 3%. Next up is tier 4 at 4%. You might think I get 10% at, tier 10. That's not a lot. Trust me, it's not 10%. You're going to get 40% damage reduction if you get to tier 10 resilience. And that is huge. You're going to have so much survivability. So this is probably the most important PvE stat. Next up is recovery. This is the universal best stat for definitely PvP, but also very strong in PvE. I don't know. It's really up to whether or not you're really taking a lot of damage. But recovery is going to make it so you regenerate faster, and it's going to go by, a good rate. And again, might not seem like a lot, but all these stats have a lot more. The amount that you gain per tier goes up a lot as you increase the stat. Discipline is for your grenade charge. Same thing. Now, intellect is for your supercharge, and strength is for your melee ability charge. Now, those stats are determined by your armor. Your armor has different random rolls to it. Once you get past even the green armor, the armor stat rolls start becoming random, and you can't just get the exact same armor, so don't dismantle your armor automatically. Make sure that you look at the stats and you think about whether or not it's going to fit what things you want in your build, and whether or not it's going to be better than what you currently have for that.
Even the light has limits. Sometimes you don't come back.
Alright, I know he's like having an emotional moment,
Powerful wizard named Devota.
but like, let's talk about this haircut, dude. Shaw, you need to fix your hair, alright?
I was prepared.
Do something. That is egregious.
Even Cass knew the risks. The best way to honor them is to finish the job. There's a Golden Age relic, a superconductor, in a sealed chamber nearby. Vanguard says we can make a weapon out of it. The problem is, the superconductor is overflowing with arc energy. We can't even get near the place, much less break the lock. We need to find a solution, and something tells me our fallen neighbors know a thing or two about the infrastructure here. These were my fire team's assignments. They're yours now. Go shake the tree, see what falls out.
Alright. Okay. Alright, Shaw, you're just being a jerk right now, right? Like, I just died and I came back from the dead, and here you are telling me, oh, la-di-da-di-da, go do my job for me. Alright. So, let's talk really quick about bounties. Almost every vendor in the game is going to offer bounties, and they're going to require you to do different things, usually pertaining to their specific, area of expertise. Shahan is the operative on the Cosmodrome, so all his bounties require you to do things on the Cosmodrome. Now, you are going to have to spend your Glimmer to purchase them, but you see that this gives you XP. Now, XP is super important, as later on, I will unlock this slot for the Seasonal Artifact. Now, Seasonal Artifacts are going to unlock powerful artifact mods, which are super strong for your builds and determine the meta from season to season. Now, the other thing that's super important is the more XP you have, the more power you will gain from the Seasonal Artifact. The Seasonal Artifact gives you power based on your XP, and it does get more expensive to get the power levels as you go, so it does get grindier and grindier, but it's really worth getting those power levels, as the amount of power level you have is going to determine how difficult every piece of content is. Another thing that's important about the different about getting XP is that there's this thing called the seasonal pass. It's basically a battle pass, and you can see there's a ton of rewards that are available. The top column, or the top row, sorry, is the free tier. This is all the free stuff that is available if you're a free-to-play player. Now, the bottom column is all about the paid tier. That's going to cost you $10 to purchase the season and all of the seasonal content along with the season's pass and all the rewards you can glean from it. Alright, it's not going to tell me to stop tracking this quest. Alright, now you're going to notice that it's going to not shut up about telling me to track the quest, but you can go over to your quest menu. You can do this for both quests and bounties, which are displayed in the quest menu, so you can find them easily, so that you can click on them, left click, mouse 1, and it's going to track them. Now, if you press tab to open your ghost or whatever your bind is, you're going to notice that it should be telling you your tracked item. So if I go to track quests, it's going to tell me what I have to do. So I have to collect data scraps by defeating Fallen, and I have to loot the specific lost sector, the Divide. Now, for all lost sectors in the game, if you go to the map by holding down tab, you can find them by looking around at this map. This icon right here is going to be lost sectors. This icon is going to be a chest. Now, you might be wondering what this icon is, and this is a public event. Public events are going to be these little activities that you can complete to gain rewards. Now, in the early game, the rewards from public events are pretty good. They're really substantial when you're first starting out. But later on, they're not as great. So, you gotta really, you gotta really make sure that you take advantage of what's good at certain times. As you'll find in Destiny, activities that you might have thought were really worth grinding earlier on aren't actually worth grinding at all. So, as you can see, like I mentioned earlier, our good old friend, the tank, is back. So, we can go ahead and kill this guy. And you can see Mr. Dan Coe is way ahead in the game than we are right now. Oh, you'll notice that when he got kills using his super ability, he was able to generate these things called Orbs of Power. You can pick up Orbs of Power, and they will give you more super energy. orbs of power can be utilized to increase your super, but as well to get charged with light through a set of mods. Now the ways to generate orbs of power are through getting kills with your super, casting the Word of Dawn, which is a Titan super, or the Well of Radiance, which is a Warlock super, or getting kills with certain types of weapons whilst having certain mods on. Now you notice that the game mentioned that this is called a lost sector. So this is what lost sectors are. There's a bunch of enemies in here. You clear through them to get to a boss type enemy. Kill the boss type enemy, and he will drop a key that you just automatically pick up. You don't have to look around for it. And then with that, you will be able to open a chest and get some rewards. Again, pretty substantial when you're fresh to the game, but as your account levels up, you get better gear, better weapons. You're not really gonna need to farm these anymore. So, you can see those are a new type of enemy under the Fallen faction, those exploders. And, you know, when you shoot them, kill them, or like, once they die, they explode. They can damage other enemies or yourself, so look out. Now, this is a mechanic that you see a lot in Destiny, in which a certain enemy needs to be killed to either drop an item or to lower some form of gate that is blocking you from progressing to the next stage in an area. Bungie tends to utilize a lot of these similar type mechanics over and over when you are playing the game, and you'll notice that a lot, even in higher end content. So it's important that you kind of learn what's happening with those very fast, but don't worry, most of them are super simple. Now, when you're doing lost sectors, when you see that thing that says cache code acquired, you can run over to the chest wherever you find it and open it up. Now, I have officially unlocked my first power weapon, being the Cupbearer to a SA2. This is a rocket launcher that uses power ammo, so you can shoot it and, you know, cause explosions. And you notice that there's a perk called cluster bombs on it, and I'll show you what cluster bombs do right here. When you shoot the rocket, it's gonna explode, and you saw those mini explosions happen after it. It's not with every rocket launcher in the game. That is because of the cluster bombs perk. You can also see the other perks here with the magazine perk or the rounds perk, and then the barrel slash magazine perk. Dang, you gotta buy catapult jump? Jeez. Alright. now we're gonna go into this area, and what do we have to do here? Go to Shahan. So we're just gonna fast travel back over to Shahan. Now, one thing you can do is you see this thing that says dismantle. When you hold down the dismantle button, it's going to scrap the weapon or the piece of armor, and it's going to give you rewards for dismantling it in the form of Glimmer, Gunsmith Reputation, which I'll talk on more when we unlock the Gunsmith, and if it's a legendary or higher rarity weapon, this currency called Legendary Shards. Legendary Shards are the other universal currency inside of Destiny.
The power grid here is linked to a dormant comms array. That array should be pulling plenty of juice from the grid, but it's offline. If we spin it up, it might stop the overload and get us to the superconductor. Trick is, we need to be at two places at once to reboot. Ray itself and the power station. To top it off, Navota is still out there, so you need to watch yourself. I'm not losing any more Guardians today.
Now here, we're going to get our first legendary weapon in the form of the Night Watch Scout Rifle.
Sounds good.
So we're going to put this on, and here we go. With the Night Watch. Now, see, it's talking about legendary weapons. You'll notice that there are a couple of new things. We got our 4th column trait. This one's called Explosive Payload. Now, we also have all the other traits, and you'll notice that there is usually like a secondary option for these. It happens on all these blue weapons, right? But that is because this is a curated or fixed role on a legendary. Sometimes those happen where it's going to give you set perks. There's only going to be one of each. And that is just, you know, you can get randoms of that weapon, but sometimes there's a guaranteed set that can appear randomly. Now, there's another thing, Kill Tracker. It's very self-explanatory. You get kills with it. This one is for PvP. The Crucible is PvP, just in case you're wondering. Or the standard Kill Tracker, which will count all PvP and PvE kills. Now, there are 3 extra things at the bottom. This is the infusion section. When you have these things called upgrade modules, if you have a item that is of higher power, you can infuse it into a lower power item to raise the power level of the lower power item up to the power of the higher power item. Now we do have the mod socket, which you can put mods in. You can unlock a multitude of mods and have a plethora of them at your arsenal through the gunsmith. And last is the masterwork section of your weapon. Every time you level up the masterwork, the stat that is correlating to will go up by 1. In this case, it's handling. Having higher handling essentially means that your gun is just gonna feel smoother. It's gonna swap faster, and it's gonna be able to aim down sights faster as well. So we're gonna claim these bounties really quick so we can get some stuff. And you can see how it says artifact unlock. Now that artifact unlock basically just means that we got, you know, if we had our seasonal artifact right now, we would be able to get a seasonal mod. Now that power bonus is super self-explanatory. We just got 1 bonus power. Now, before you actually like dismantle this Night Watch, the second you get something higher power, don't do it. Save this Night Watch. Do not get rid of this Night Watch. This Night Watch is actually a PvE god roll. A god roll is what Destiny players call a weapon that has the best 5 perks possible on it. And that's what this Night Watch is. It is a top-notch weapon, and you can't actually get another one outside of the New Light campaign, so make sure you save it. Don't trash it. This thing's gonna be super good. You can use it throughout your entire Destiny PvE career, and you won't really run into problems, because it's gonna stay strong as long as you keep it up to power with what you're doing. Man, do not like running everywhere. I gotta unlock a vehicle soon. Alright, here we go. We're gonna steal this. We're gonna steal this pike. Alright, let's go start it up in the next mission. Wait, what? These are locked? Okay, I guess you gotta get them from Ikora. Alright.
We need to get that array operational to balance the power grid. I can reboot it from the station out here, but not while the systems are in lockdown.
How can we help?
Find the central terminal. Do patch me from there.
Now, I'm going to show off what Overflow does. I didn't really read out what the perk does at the time, but because I wanted to show it to you in action. So you can see there's a special brick on the ground here. When I run over the special brick and I pick up the ammo, Overflow is going to double the magazine size of my weapon over what it normally can hold. Now, that is only a one-time thing, so it only happens when you pick up the ammo. After I fire off all the shots and I reload, it's gonna stop doing that until I pick up another ammo
Golden
brick.
Age facility. Lost during the collapse hundreds of years ago. It's amazing parts of it are still functioning.
This is an excellent perk, as it's gonna allow you to just auto-reload your weapon, and overflowing the magazine is gonna just obviously allow you to fire more shots without having to really worry about anything. Now, new enemy type again. These are the Curse Thrall. The Curse Thrall are similar to the exploding shanks that we fought in that lost sector earlier on, except that they're slower and that they're Hive faction enemies. Again, as you can probably already tell, what I said earlier about how each and every faction of enemy has similar enemies that fall into different archetypes. As you can already see, we've seen for the Hive, their melee type trash enemy, their standard trash enemy, and then their more of their higher tier enemy. With the Knights, same for the Fallen in the form of the Dregs to the Marauders, and then the Explosive and normal Shanks. Okay, I'm at the array game. Is it bugging out? It's supposed to be doing something right now. Do I have to go back and kill all the enemies? That would be... Ooh, engram. Make sure you pick up your engrams. Now, you don't have to, as there is going to be something that we'll see later on called the Postmaster that we can go to deposit, or not deposit, but to pick up any engrams that we missed. You don't have to worry about losing items, as long as it was dropped for you, the Postmaster will get it. Game, what are you doing right now? Why is it bugging out? Alright, I'm gonna have to abandon the activity because activity did break on me. Oh, you can't upgrade the green one? Okay. Alright, so you can see here, if you'll get this off my screen. Yeah, honestly, can I disable this? That'd be great. the hints off. I don't want to see this. Ah. No. I don't. I know to go back to the Cosmodrome. I'm just trying to show off the map. Right, so we're gonna have to fly back into the Cosmodrome here because it bugged out. But this is gonna give me some time to show you some things. So, this is your character screen. You can access it by pressing I, or by going and pressing escape, open character. Next to it is gonna be the Triumph section, where you can unlock different seals, which are going to be completed or unlocked by completing a lot of triumphs. Triumphs are essentially what they are called. You do certain triumphs by completing certain, whatever the triumph demands you. Like in this one, defeat different bosses in a certain activity, and when you complete all of them, you can get the seal, and you can equip it, and it gives you a nice little piece of purple text underneath your name. Now, up here, the medals, this is where you can see all the medals that you got inside of Gambit and Crucible, which is PvP, Patterns and Catalysts, which is where you can look at all the catalysts that you unlock for exotic weapons. And this is the Patterns section, is where you can see all the different unlockable crafted weapons in the game. Lore over here is where you can look at all the different lore books that you've unlocked and read all the lore that you'd want to try and, catch up and understand the story. And then lastly is stat trackers. This is where you can see all your in-game stats. Now, this is really important. This is the collection section. Now, inside the collections, you can reacquire any weapon that you've already unlocked that is not, and this is really important to remember, that is not random rolled. That means stuff like old weapons or weapons such as these, which are set rolls. Those are really important to remember, so don't dismantle something that you might want to use thinking that you can get another one when you really can't. But that really only applies to legendaries. Blues you can. Now, you'll see I did pick up this thing, and it's a grenade launcher, and you might be wondering why. And that's because of this perk called Blinding Grenades, and I will show you what it does in the mission. But, super simple. You shoot it, and it blinds enemies. I really love taking advantage of this perk. It's one of my favorites in the game, and it's very strong inside of PvE. One thing to note though, it will lower the blast radius of the grenades shot, and it will lower the damage of them. So yeah, you can look through the collections, as you probably saw me doing, and go all the way down to the blue and green and white weapon tier sections to find weapons that you'd actually want to use right now, since your power level's not too important. Just find what you think looks interesting. You can also try out, as there's weapons for every single archetype of the weapons here. You can try out all the different archetypes and find out which ones you really enjoy the most. So I really do like that about the game, that it is available to you to try them out. The only ones that you can't really try, I believe, are bows and machine guns. But you're not missing out on much there, at least right now, as you don't really need them till much later on in higher tier content. Alright, here we go. We're gonna steal this pike so I can get up there faster. Okay, you know, actually, I'm not gonna do the mission. I'm gonna go over and do some public events, so you can see what a public event is like. You can see on the destination, there's a ton of people here. You know, everything's popping off. Oh, here, gonna join in on this public event so you can get these rewards. And they are doing the heroic event. Each public event does have a heroic event version. You notice I did get absolutely fried here, and that's because I'm pretty low power right now. I am supposed to be higher power when doing these, but I'm gonna take the time out to go and do them, as the rewards are pretty worth it right now. You get a lot of glimmer, and you can get weapons and gear from it. As you can see, I just got a shotgun. 1368 shotgun, so I did just increase my power, and I got a ton of glimmer from that. So you do see them around, even if you're underpowered. Make sure you go try them out. If there's other people there, you can easily complete them.
Operational to balance the power grid. I can reboot it from the station out here, but not while the systems are in lockdown.
How can we help?
Find the central terminal. You can patch me in from there.
This is a Golden Age facility.
Now, you might notice that while holding my grenade launcher, I run faster. And that's because this grenade launcher falls under the lightweight archetype. Now, depending on the weapon archetype, and it actually doesn't matter what kind of weapon, whether I'm holding a tiny sidearm or a massive rocket launcher, the archetype is really what matters as to how fast you move. So since I'm holding a lightweight grenade launcher, my character moves slightly faster. Now you'll notice that I have this buff called Amplified. When you're amplified, your weapons have increased reload speed, increased handling as well. And as well as that, whilst amplified, you can, when you're running, you will get a speed boost, making you can go super fast. Here, I'm pretty sure there's don't they have an explanation for what amplified does here? No, they don't. Oh, here, yes. Movement speed, weapon handling are greatly increased. After a short time, your movement speed is further increased. There you go. Okay, it's doing this again. This is not how it was when I last did this mission. Okay. I'm sorry, game. Do I have to kill these last few guys? No, they're beneath me. What is up with that? This is not what it was last time I had to play through it. No, I'm out in Skywatch now. I'm definitely not supposed to be here. Yes, go here. Alright, game, you're just screwing with me at this point. The heck? There's no interactables in the area. There's literally no interactables, and there's nothing that I have to do. What do you want from me? Access the controls. Where are the controls, game? Where are they? You moved them since when I last did this mission. What? Why did they move the controls? Makes no sense. Why don't you tell me where the controls are, game? Is it because I bought bounties when I wasn't supposed to? Huh? Is that what this is about? Are you mad that I bought bounties, Bungo? Are you upset? Does me buying bounties and trying to further my character and teach people about bounties make you that angry? Why won't you tell me where the controls are? Hello, Noah. And thank you, Dad, for checking out the stream. Do appreciate you guys being here, really do. Any of you guys know where the darned controls are? I would love for you to tell me, because I am completely lost right now. I'm supposed to be the guy teaching people how to play the game. And I have no clue where these controls are. BC with me and I will show you. Alright. Hop in.
Alright, so let's...
Alright. Well, please show me the way.
I will try my best. Also, I am on my new account.
Oh, you're on a new account as well? Alright.
It's below you.
Okay, where below me? This was not below you before. You used to have to run up there.
Wait, you actually glitched it. Hold on.
Did
Go
I
to,
actually
like,
glitch it?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
No, go back to where you were.
okay, yeah, I'm going back to where I was. Alright, Alright, now I'm up here.
I'm gonna make a hunter.
Okay. And it's telling me to go in this direction. And the second I get over to it, it does this. So it does feel like it's below me. And I don't know how to get below me, because I never had to before. Like, legitimately, I'm gonna go do this public event right now so I can go get more stuff.
Alright.
Like, this legitimately went from Mr. Informity to, like, now just, like, being completely
Look
lost.
up a YouTube guide.
Look up a YouTube guide to make my own YouTube guide. Alright, back to informative mode. Alright, so now I got these new gauntlets, we're gonna put them on. And if you go to quest, ooh, do they not let you access them yet? Alright, well, there are these things called seasonal challenges. They come out week by week. And they're gonna require you to complete certain objectives. And when you complete those objectives, you're going to get rewards, usually in the terms of large amounts of XP, but sometimes weapons and emblems. They are very much worth doing because that XP, like stated before, will give you more power bonus and the ability to unlock more artifact mods, which are again extremely powerful. Okay, no, are you like watching a YouTube guide or something? Like I am
No,
legitimately.
I am not. Hold
Alright,
on, hold on.
I'm
Cold
pulling up a
boot
YouTube
guide.
guide. I'm pulling up a YouTube guide, I guess, how to make my own YouTube guide because the mission is either bugged out or they legitimately changed it from when I last did this to now a point where I actually don't know how to do the mission because it's been reprised.
Alright, James, I'm watching it right now. Go. Like,
Yeah.
let me just pull up some stuff.
Do I have to go in here? No, you can't get in there.
Wait, James, stand still, because there's a stream delay.
Alright. Here, I'll do this for you so you don't have to look through stream delay. Yeah, so no, now you don't have to deal with stream delay so you can watch that. Okay, so no, where do I need to go?
Where are you now?
Look at my Discord stream, look at my Discord stream.
It might take some time.
Attention, contacting Destiny 2 servers. You love to see it.
Probably because you're streaming twice at once.
Maybe.
Alright, you're actually just in the wrong place.
What? They changed the mission? Okay, where do I go?
Go outside.
Bungie straight up changed the mission. Wow. Okay, now where? Which door, I guess?
Like, go completely outside. Like,
Complete.
where all the are. Where grass exists. Well, you might not know what grass looks like.
Shut up, man. You might not know what grass looks like.
I mean, we both play Valorant, but
That's correct.
I
Alright, this is where you go to
outside.
start the mission.
Active hands in the field. Looks like another war set is disabled. Let's grab it before the hive get to it.
like, remember where you exited to do the public event?
Oh, go there? Okay.
Yeah, I forgot where it's called. I'm gonna help you with this, and then I'm gonna start my hunter.
Alright, and then I am actually gonna have to go eat, so that is gonna be the end of this stream after that.
Alright, so you just have to finish the cold boot. I'll finish the cold boot.
Yeah, and then we can actually play through this together.
Yeah.
That'll be much more fun. We can actually have some, like, conversation, banter. Something beyond just me saying, do this, this is what this is what that is. I can't believe that they redid the mission.
Right there!
Why? Okay, are you serious, game? Are you serious? It bugged out on me! What is this? This game made me look like a clown. This game made me look like a clown on the internet. Oh my god, I'm gonna get bullied for this. I will be the laughing stock of the Destiny community because the game bugged out on me. Alright. And I'm so used to having damage range buff.
Got it. Door's been power cycled. Getting a little spicy on my end.
Do you need backup?
I can take the heat, but I'm
Did I just say I'm just listening to I just said damage range buff. That makes no sense. That's not a thing. Melee range buff. Melee range buff. What am I saying? Damage range buff. Make sure you have a damage range buff, guys. Like, what does that mean?
Flash. Cause some mischief. Get the brood to clear out of here.
What kind of mischief?
How about the loud kind?
The Hive are drawing power from that ritual.
Alright, here we go. Just gonna show that enemy off. It kinda got instantly nuked by Mr. Lucy Leo, or Mrs. Lucy Leo, might I say. But essentially, that is another high faction enemy, and that's gonna be their, like, mini-boss or their tank-esque enemy.
I forgot how nice Hunter is. I completely forgot how nice it is to play a Hunter.
I was really tempted to just make another Warlock and just play Warlock again, but like, this entire series that I'm making is about learning, so I should probably learn how to play Titan. And not just have the Titan be the one class that I really don't know what I'm doing on.
Hive contacts increasing.
Destiny in the beginning with all the HUD all gone, it's so nice.
That got a response.
Alright, let's go. Let's go. I don't know. I'm some form of sword wielder. Alright, you better watch out, Hive. Got a sword. Stuck in a wall. Alright, let's go, Knight. You wanna go? You wanna go? Face the wrath! That just did 2 damage to this man. That did nothing to him. What is that sword super? What is that sword super? That did nothing to them. That did nothing. Nothing.
Not gonna lie, I think when they made it like limited primary ammo, that made this game more of a challenge and it made it better.
I wholeheartedly agree with the with limited primary ammo. I personally prefer that a
It made
lot.
this game more of a challenge and thus more enjoyable to play.
Plus, it made it so there's a lot more reward to playing double special instead of a primary and a special. This is an informative series. Yeah, I'm just gonna put this out there. That is stuff I will explain later on. A lot of kind of things that you might hear us talk about that might be a little bit confusing. I'll do my best to explain them. But double special essentially is basically it's just when you run 2 special weapons. I can
And of
I'd have
course,
to
there's
pull one
also,
from
like,
collections.
And verify the security
the
lattice.
people who went Lion's Roar and then like an SMG or something, because that's just infinite grenade launchers.
Yep. So you can just, yeah. So you can get a kinetic special weapon.
It's operational.
Kinetic special. Wait, you mean primary special weapon?
Kinetic special
Yes.
weapon. Did I not say that? Am I tripping balls right now?
Shaw? What did... Detecting a large hive swarm incoming. The array signal is too powerful. It's drowning our comms. We're on a rope.
Hey, guess what my new username is?
What is your new username?
It's
Not Slickbee?
Raider.
It's not Raider. Wow, love it. What is up, guys? It's not Raider.
Yeah.
Nyeh.
But seriously, the New Light experience is so nice.
Really, from
Oh,
what I've
it's like
heard, and the entire reason I actually want to start this is I've been seeing so many people complaining about how bad New Light is. So that's the entire reason I did this, because they said a lot of people have been saying that they feel really lost when it comes to New Light, and they truly don't know what's happening and going
well,
on.
that means they're bad at the game because the Ghost is so good at explaining everything. And also because they don't have a personal James, you know.
Yeah, maybe because, you know, every time you were confused as to what's going on, I came in and was like, you know, here, I'll explain for you.
We're alive.
Yeah, I just died to a walker already.
Yeah.
That's bad. I died already.
Yeah. I've been thinking about doing like a ton of series on this, like, you know, how to, like, you know, meet all the vendors, right? You know, how to power level, what the heck is going on with this, what are, you know, what are raids, what is the Crucible, what is Gambit, what are strikes, you know, what are dungeons, stuff like that. Well, that is going to be the end of the stream for today. Thank you to everybody who came out and watched it, specifically my dad and Noah. But hey, if you do see this in the future and it does help you out, you know, that's super great, honestly. That's the entire reason why I made this. Love to help out other people, especially in this community. You know, so yeah. Beyond that, hope you have a great day whether you're watching this live or you're watching this in post. See you later. This is Iterator signing out.
Bye.